Chicago. For years, the mafia has brought corruption, extortion, and murder to these streets. The mob manipulates local government, the courts, and the police.
They control anything and everything in the city.
The FBI fights a losing battle against the mob's rule of fear. Their influence is so strong, most mobsters that go to court walk free.
These people are literally getting away with murder.
But when help finally arrives from a completely unexpected source, the feds can finally break the mob's vicious grip on the city. Chicago, America's second city, famous for its soaring skyscrapers and for its vicious underworld. For some time, much of Chicago's crime literally took place under the city. During the mid-19th century, parts of the city were raised on stilts to prevent flooding. Below was a gloomy underworld where Chicago's criminals gathered. During Prohibition in the 1920s, bootleg alcohol is big business. Criminal gangs fight bloody wars to control and profit from it. Mobster Al Capone wipes out the competition, leaving only the mafia ruling the underworld. His organization is known as the Outfit. Over the next 30 years, the Outfit increases their control of all illegal activity in the city. No sizable crime takes place on their turf without their permission. April 26, 1962. Two young thieves, Billy McCarthy and Jimmy Miraglia, are on the move. They're following the Scalvo brothers. The brothers are connected to the mob. McCarthy and Miraglia had a fight with them and got badly beaten. Now they want revenge. Frank Culotta is a friend of theirs.
We were crooks and we hung together, and we robbed together in plain English. And one night Billy and Jimmy were telling me that they wanted to whack these two brothers, and I was supposed to go along with them. And the night that they picked out to do it, I was bowling with some girl.
Culotta says he stays behind. McCarthy and Miraglia follow the Scalvos into a mob-controlled neighborhood. When the brothers pull up, McCarthy and Miraglia empty their guns into the car. McCarthy and Miraglia have made a big mistake. They have killed two syndicate associates. When the Outfit hears of the murders, they send crew member Tony Spilatro to talk to Frank Culotta. They are old friends.
So he met me at a bowling alley, and it was quite obvious that everybody knew it was Billy and Jimmy. And he said, listen, he said, I got to tell you the truth. They think you were there. And he said, they're going to whack you and Billy and Jimmy, so you need to tell me because I could get you out of this. So I told him the truth, you know, what happened.
Spilatro promises to protect Culotta if he gets the two killers to a location where the mob can grab them. Culotta arranges to meet McCarthy at a fast food restaurant on North Avenue. There, Spilatro and his crew grab McCarthy and drive him out to Cicero, a mafia-controlled suburb.
Well, they take them in the basement. Usually you go down in a sub-level basement, you know, where it's a little quieter down there and noises can't be heard. Then he told me that they tortured Billy.
Spilatro goes to work on him with an ice pick. He wants to know who else was with him when he killed the Scalvos.
And Billy wouldn't come up with anything, so finally they stuck his head in the vise. And they started tightening it, and his eyeball popped out. And he told them that Jimmy was there, only Jimmy. And then they cut his throat.
Spilatro believes McCarthy's story A few days later, the outfit picks up Jimmy. He's beaten and killed. Billy McCarthy and Jimmy Miraglia are left in the trunk of a car in the south of the city. The McCarthy and Miraglia murders send a clear message to the Chicago underworld. Step out of line with the mafia, and you'll pay with your life. The executions also show the mob's utter contempt for the law. Chicago's law enforcement must try to regain control of the city. The outfit is run like a corporation. Its chairman is Tony Accardo, a veteran of the Capone era. He is known as Joe Batters for his talent at cracking skulls with a baseball bat.
He was an animal. He had been responsible for an awful lot of murders.
Below Accardo as chief executive is mafia boss Sam Giancana. First accused of murder as a teenager, he then became a hitman for the mob.
He was a man's man. In other words, you looked up to him, you respected him. You know, he'd get in there and fight with you.
Under Giancana, there's a board of 5 directors who operate their own scams and share the profits with the outfit's leaders. Each director controls a part of the city with a crew. The directors are known as made men, meaning that they share in the profits of the whole outfit. To become a made man, they must swear an oath of allegiance and silence.
And of course, once you're a made member, you are always a made member, and you do not leave alive.
The director of the Grand Avenue crew is Joey the Clown Lombardo, a mob killer who specializes in loan sharking and extortion.
This was Joe's territory. He was a clown, you know, funny guy, always made jokes, but he had like a hair trigger. You don't know. You couldn't play back with him. It was like a one-way street, you know. He was making the jokes and you were the brunt of his jokes.
Lombardo trades on fear and intimidation. He runs a vicious loan sharking operation, lending money at exorbitant interest rates. Many borrowers are habitual gamblers who will never repay the loan and struggle to pay the interest. Late payers are severely punished. With brutal operatives like Lombardo making money for them, by the 1960s, the outfit is reportedly raking in over $1 billion from skimming casino profits, loan sharking, extortion, gambling, and pornography. When Red Womet sets up a porn shop in a mob-controlled neighborhood, he has to pay them protection money, whether he makes a profit or not.
And the deal was 50% of the back room, the peep shows. At that time, $1,000 was coming in a week, and we agreed upon $500. He said, I don't care how much more you make, we made the deal. He said, if you would have been bust, I'd have still been looking for that money, whether you had it or not.
With all his wealth and power, outfit boss Sam Giancana gets a taste for the high life. He parties with celebrities like Frank Sinatra and Marilyn Monroe. He also meets the young Senator John F. Kennedy and tries to gain influence with the government. The mob's secretive chairman, Tony Accardo, disapproves of Giancana's glamorous lifestyle. Equally, the Kennedys don't like being associated with the mob. Americans are sickened by the blatant disregard of the law. John Drummond has spent 40 years reporting on the Chicago outfit.
The general feeling of the public in Chicago after the war, and the immediate decade or two afterwards, that the syndicate could get away with murder, that they're pretty untouchable, so to speak.
In the early 1960s, Attorney General Robert Kennedy launches a nationwide attack on the mafia.
The rackets have become too widespread, too well organized, and too rich. It is my firm belief that new laws are needed to give the Federal Bureau of Investigation increased jurisdiction to assist local authorities.
The FBI is tasked with gathering evidence against the mob.
To get convictions in these organized crime cases, it takes a lot of work. There were bugs on people's offices, bugs on their phones, bugs in their cars, plus people were in wires.
The electronic surveillance gives the feds valuable information, but it's inadmissible in court. The feds can only harass mob boss Giancana with close and constant surveillance. In 1965, Giancana is ordered to testify before a federal grand jury. He refuses and is jailed for a year. Upon his release, outfit chairman Tony Accardo tells Giancana it's time he stepped down. His high profile attracts too much attention.
Sam Giancana's lifestyle, his flamboyant lifestyle, didn't sit well with Accardo. He was bringing heat on the organization by himself.
Rather than wait for a retirement bullet, Giancana goes into exile in Mexico. Accardo takes over Giancana's role as chief executive. He's an astute leader who keeps a low profile and ensures that the outfit's criminal activities can't be traced back to him.
Accardo would never speak to someone else down the line. He would send one of his henchmen to send another henchman to do something. I mean, it would be 3 times removed, so he would protect himself.
Even when he was forced to testify before a Senate Committee on Organized Crime, Accardo hid behind the Fifth Amendment.
I respectfully decline to answer because I honestly believe my answer might tend to incriminate me.
I ask you again.
Under Accardo's leadership, the outfit's power grows and its influence spreads into every part of city life. The mob now rules the streets with impunity, even when caught red-handed. November 10th, 1964. Cook County Police Sergeant John Flood is driving past the Crossroads Motel when he sees something suspicious. There's a man creeping through the shadows.
He had a steel pipe, just didn't look right. And then I looked and I saw a woman and a man in a car, maybe about 25 yards from me.
Flood pulls over.
This man started walking toward me, and I told him, produce some identification.
The man with the pipe is Frank the German Schwiess, reputedly a feared outfit hitman.
I knew him for 20 years. He was the most ruthless man I've ever met in my entire life.
But Schwiess is not alone. His getaway driver now tries to run Sergeant Flood down.
And I heard the roar of the engine and turned to shoot, split second. Well, I hit Schwiess first. Turned to shoot, and I didn't, but I got Schwiess, and the other guy had run away, and I wanted to get after him.
But the man Schwiess was sent to kill has disappeared. There is no evidence to hold Schwiess, so he walks. The feds must regain control of the city. In the late 1960s and early 70s, Washington finally provides them with the weapons to do so. The Crime Control and Safe Streets Acts allows evidence from wiretaps to be admitted in court. The RICO Act makes it easier to prosecute organized crime figures. And the Witness Protection Program provides witnesses with security against mob retribution. But when the feds do get informants brave enough to come forward, the courts seem unable to convict. Most mobsters who appear in court are acquitted. The outfit's influence reaches far deeper than the feds realize. Since the days of Al Capone, the mafia gets away with racketeering, extortion, and murder. The FBI can't convict them, and no one dares to speak out against the mob. Then a new law is passed to protect witnesses. Now the feds just need an insider to testify. In 1973, the FBI gets a break. Outfit hitman Chuck Grimaldi is accused of murder. The feds offer him immunity in exchange for information. Grimaldi tells them of the murder of a mob loan collector by 2 outfit hitmen, Tony Spilotro and Mad Sam DiStefano. Both are indicted.
Sam was dangerous. I mean, he was just totally insane. I mean, do things that were absolutely ridiculous. He believed in satanic worship. He frothed at the mouth when he'd go into a rage.
Mad Sam defends himself. Speaking through a bullhorn, he turns the pretrial hearing into a circus. For the camera-shy outfit, Mad Sam's antics are positively dangerous. If there's one thing that sends hardened mobsters scurrying